Back in the day, if somebody told you that you could one day be able to buy a camera that was the size of your thumb that creates high quality digital photos and 2.7K video, you'd probably laugh at them. Heck, even if the year was 2000, we couldn't have imagined such a thing. And yet here we are, and the new Insta360 Go does those things and so much more. Now we're going to dive into the Go 3 here in just a bit in the episode, but first we're going to talk about some other important photography news. Also, I need to do a little housekeeping. So as you're watching this video, if you feel I've earned that like, I sure would appreciate that. It doesn't cost you anything and it really does help out the channel quite a bit. That said, let's shift gears and get on to this week's headlines. All right, let's have a little fun here. If you had to wager, guess how many US cameras have been made since 1987, what would you say? Would you say 1 million, 25 million, 50 million, or better yet, let's go with a cool 75 million. Which would you go? Now, if you chose any of those four answers, friend, you would be wrong. It's actually much higher. In less than 40 years, Canon has produced 110 million EOS system cameras. Throw in 160 million EF and RF lenses over that time, and friend, you have a big old pile of gear. Now, there have been some real triumphs for Canon since the EOS line was launched as well. Now, the first camera was the EOS 650, which launched in 1987, and it had a 50mm 1.8 lens on it. The EOS 5D was a big moment for the EOS lineup when it launched in 2005. It sparked a long line of 5D cameras that were among some of the best in the market. It also inspired the R5, which of course I happily own. And it carries the 5D tradition of being a rock-solid professional camera. And Canon lenses have had their moments as well. Image stabilization, silent focusing, and various lens coatings that reduce chromatic aberration and lens flare all happen along the way with Canon lenses. Now looking back on what has happened over the years with Canon and actually for that matter other manufacturers, it really makes you wonder what's in store for the next 36 years. It's exciting to really think about it for sure, and I just hope I'm still alive and kicking to talk about it, and that's 2059. That's a, yeah, here we go. Now, we've discussed the Z8 pretty thoroughly over the last month or so, and there's no arguing. I mean, this camera has been a huge hit for Nikon, but that success hasn't come without a problem. As it turns out, a specific batch of Z8s have a defect that makes it impossible to mount a lens on the camera. Yeah, that's kind of important. It seems, though, this issue is really contained to an early batch of Z8s, and the issue also appears to be actually quite rare. So, what is the problem, you ask? Well, the cameras with this defect, well, it won't allow the lens to rotate to the locked position. Clearly, this is an issue as the lens won't seat properly and as a result, could fall off the camera. Now, fortunately, if your Z8 has this issue, Nikon's going to pay for the fix free of charge, and they're also going to cover the shipping to and from them, which actually seems like that is only appropriate, but considering what you've paid for the camera. Now, this offer extends to people whose warranty has expired, though this really doesn't apply to anybody because at this point these cameras are all brand new. This offer is extended to people whose warranty is expired, though this really doesn't apply to anybody at this point since the camera just came out. Now, if you aren't sure that your Z8 is affected, you can visit Nikon's website. In the description below, I will put a link and you can enter your serial number to find out. Alternatively, heck, if you try to put your lens on and it keeps falling off, yeah, that might be a good indicator that you got a spoiled Z8 and you got to send that into Nikon. But anyways, link down below. Now, in case you missed it, Insta360 recently dropped the newest version of the Go action camera. This is the Go 3, and if you ask me, it's the best upgrade to the Go camera yet. Now, for starters, I mean, just look at it. This thing is absolutely tiny, about the size of your thumb. It only weighs 1.25 ounces as well. Now, this is impressive by itself, but what makes the Go 3 even more impressive is that it now has the ability to sit in what is called an action pod. Boom, just like that. Now the Action Pod offers mind-blowing features as well. On one hand, it's a battery case that adds about 125 minutes of recording time on top of the existing 45 minutes of shooting time that you get with the Go 3's built-in battery. Now on the other hand, the Action Pod gives you this handy dandy 2.2-inch flip screen so you can easily view the footage on the camera that you're creating. Also, it's handy for vlogging so you can see yourself in the frame. It's just a handy tool. Now, other features include the option to shoot in 1:1 and also 9:16 aspect ratio, waterproofness to 16 feet, in a host of magnetic accessories that allow you to attach the camera. Now, this includes an easy clip for hats, which is this little guy right here, a pivot stand, which is actually in my car, so you can attach the camera to a tripod, and even, here's a pretty cool thing. Let's take this thing out. A magnetic pendant so you can wear around your neck for a first-person view of videos. And you can also add a selfie stick that turns into a portable tripod if you like. Now, of course, you get the flow state stabilization, 360 horizontal lock, 2.7K video, 24, 25, 30 frames per second, and you can shoot HD videos at 1440 or 1080p up to 50 frames per second. That's not bad when you look at it. I mean, just look at it. This thing is such a little tiny camera. Now, this bad boy is available right now for order at $399.99. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description below if you want to order one of these things. Now, I have to say this. If you watch this channel for a while, you know I'm a die-hard GoPro fan. And it's hard for me to get excited about other brand action cameras. But this is the first non-GoPro camera that has really gotten me excited. Because when you look at it, this camera and how small it is and the features that come with this thing, I mean, in the back, it's funny, as I was talking to one of my editors this morning about this here, what this reminds me, if you look at, for example, when GoPro first came out, and prior to that, if you wanted to get some cool, get creative shots and so forth, you were kind of limited to the size of your camera where you could stick that big bulky thing. And then GoPro came in with these little tiny little cameras, and that allowed people to get super creative with how they were getting shots. For me, when you look at that transition, when GoPros were first announced, this, from a creative standpoint, I think this is groundbreaking. And I know this is their version 3, but they keep raising the bar with all the tech and features that are crammed into, again, this little tiny camera. I've been playing with this now for about a week, and I'm absolutely in love with this thing. So, and actually, speaking of which, I have a more thorough review coming up on this, and so you're going to be able to see some of the cool stuff that I've been able to do with this. All right, folks, and that is for me. I think I'm going to head outside and play around with this little bugger with my kiddos. So until next time, you get out there and take your best shot.